Pakistan has long been a focal point in discussions about global security threats. Its state-sponsored radicalization efforts, particularly through religious institutions and educational materials, have raised serious concerns. Thousands of madrasas, many operating with minimal oversight, have become breeding grounds for extremist ideologies. The curriculum often glorifies jihad and martyrdom, instilling a dangerous mindset within a generation of young minds. This systematic indoctrination has created a fertile ground for terrorist groups to recruit and radicalize individuals, perpetuating a cycle of violence and instability. The consequences of this radicalization extend far beyond Pakistan's borders. Graduates of these institutions often join terrorist organizations, carrying their extremist ideologies and violent tactics to other parts of the world. The international community has witnessed firsthand the devastating impact of Pakistan-linked terrorism from the streets of Mumbai to the cities of Europe and North America. The flow of foreign fighters to conflict zones like Syria and Iraq further highlights the global reach of Pakistan's radicalization network. Despite international pressure, Pakistan's efforts to curb extremist activities within its borders have been insufficient. The government's reluctance to take decisive action against these groups, often citing strategic depth or using them as proxies in regional conflicts, has exacerbated the problem. This inaction has allowed terrorist organizations to flourish, using Pakistan as a safe haven to plan and execute attacks, both domestically and internationally. The international community must hold Pakistan accountable for its role in fueling global instability, addressing the root causes of extremism within its borders, particularly the radicalization taking place within madrasas and educational institutions, is crucial. Failure to do so will only perpetuate the cycle of violence and insecurity that threatens not only the region but the world at large. Pakistan's support for terrorist organizations extends beyond its borders, actively destabilizing the region and threatening global security. The country has long served as a safe haven for various militant groups, including the Taliban, Haqqani Network, Lashkar-e-Taiba, and Jaish-e-Mohammed. These groups operate with impunity within Pakistan's borders, using the territory to train, recruit, and launch attacks against neighboring countries and beyond. Pakistan's intelligence agency, the Inter-Services Intelligence (ISI), has been accused of providing extensive support to these groups. This support includes training, funding, logistical assistance, and intelligence sharing. The ISI's involvement in fostering and sustaining these organizations is well documented, with evidence pointing to a deep-rooted relationship that has spanned decades. The consequences of Pakistan's export of terrorism are devastating and far-reaching. The Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan in 2021, facilitated by Pakistan's unwavering support, has plunged the country into chaos and humanitarian crisis. The Taliban's return to power has also emboldened other terrorist groups operating in the region, raising concerns about the resurgence of international terrorism. Pakistan's proxy war tactics have also significantly strained relations with its neighbor, India. Terrorist attacks launched from Pakistani soil, particularly in the disputed region of Kashmir, have brought the two nuclear-armed nations to the brink of war on multiple occasions. The continued threat of cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan remains a major obstacle to peace and stability in South Asia. Pakistan's nuclear arsenal, coupled with its internal instability and history of proliferation, poses a grave threat to global security. The country's nuclear program, developed in response to India's nuclear ambitions, has become a source of immense concern for the international community. The risk of nuclear materials falling into the wrong hands, particularly given Pakistan's links to terrorist organizations, is a chilling prospect with potentially catastrophic consequences. The AQ Khan Network, a clandestine operation led by a Pakistani nuclear scientist, serves as a stark reminder of the dangers posed by Pakistan's nuclear proliferation history. The network sold nuclear technology and materials to rogue states like North Korea, Iran, and Libya, raising serious concerns about the potential spread of nuclear weapons to unstable actors. Pakistan's internal security situation further amplifies the risks associated with its nuclear arsenal. The country has experienced multiple military coups and periods of political turmoil, raising concerns about the security and control of its nuclear weapons. The possibility of extremist elements within the Pakistani military or intelligence services gaining access to nuclear materials is a nightmare scenario that keeps security analysts awake at night. The international community has a vital role to play in mitigating the risks posed by Pakistan's nuclear program. Strengthening international safeguards, enhancing export controls, and promoting dialogue between India and Pakistan to reduce tensions are crucial steps. Failure to address this issue decisively could have catastrophic consequences, not just for South Asia, but for the entire world. Addressing the multifaceted threat emanating from Pakistan requires a comprehensive and coordinated international response. This response must address both the symptoms and the root causes of Pakistan's behavior, combining diplomatic pressure with concrete actions to dismantle terrorist networks and curb nuclear proliferation. First and foremost, the international community must exert sustained pressure on Pakistan to dismantle terrorist safe havens within its borders. This includes demanding decisive action against groups like the Taliban, Haqqani Network, Lashkar-e-Taiba, and Jaish-e-Mohammed, as well as cutting off their access to funding, weapons, and recruits. Second, international aid to Pakistan should be contingent on the country's demonstrable commitment to combating terrorism and extremism. This requires greater transparency and accountability in how aid is used, ensuring that it does not end up in the hands of terrorist organizations or their supporters. Third, the international community must work to strengthen Pakistan's democratic institutions and promote good governance. A more stable and democratic Pakistan is essential for tackling the root causes of extremism, including poverty, inequality, and lack of education. Finally, addressing the risks associated with Pakistan's nuclear arsenal requires sustained engagement and pressure. This includes urging Pakistan to sign the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, strengthen its export controls, and engage in dialogue with India to reduce nuclear tensions. The threat posed by Pakistan is real and multifaceted, demanding a resolute and comprehensive response from the international community. Failure to act decisively will only embolden terrorist organizations, exacerbate regional instability, and increase the risk of nuclear proliferation. The time for complacency is over. The world must act now to counter this growing threat before it's too late.